an audience of school board members, which was my first time, was last year. It was the Florida School Board Members Association and their superintendents. And I will admit that in flight down to Tampa, where they held the conference, I was a little bit hesitant and had a little bit of anxiety because it was the first time I ever addressed a room full of school board members on this particular topic. But I will tell you that in flight, returning back to Atlanta, I knew then that it was the most enjoyable audience I've ever experienced in my life. And I always wondered in all my years of giving this lecture and presentation, how come I never appeared before school board members sooner than that? And so I'm creating a high bar for y'all. I'm expecting to fly back, except on Delta on my own. Okay, because of the reception here to this particular topic. In fact, I've been sitting in the back, and I'm already getting the temperature reading already that I am speaking to a friendly audience when it comes to this particular subject matter. So, I don't want to preach to the choir, as this gentleman said earlier, but however, I want to say something that's still important. You need to know specific data so you can have in your toolkit, so when you're dealing with those folks out there that are the uneducated citizens who are wanting you to push kids out of school who they deem the bad kids who are disruptive, forgetting that there's a psychosocial concept that for every 10 kids you get rid of, there are 10 kids waiting in the wings to take their place. I know, I was one of them. I saw your hands go up earlier, okay? Now I'm going to put you through another test in just a moment with your hands going up. We're going to have a little bit of fun, all right? Well, so yeah, so let me, so Dewana had mentioned Broward County. That's Fort Lauderdale, the 7th largest school district in the United States. So let me tell you how they got their agreement. Elijah Williams, the judge down there, he was at a National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges Conference in Las Vegas. And it was on Sunday, and I was doing the closing plenary. And it was in the big ballroom, because this is one of the largest judicial organizations in the world, for which I currently serve on the board of directors. And it has a school pathways project that's called School Pathways. If you get online with the National Council, you'll go to School Pathways, and you'll see how they have this project, and the project is to replicate what they call the Teske model. And now they have to say that because they received over $2 million from the Atlantic Philanthropies, whose board of directors wanted to deal with dismantling what we often hear is the school-to-prison pipeline, or I call the school-to-courts-to-prison pipeline, okay? And part of the contract in receiving that money was that they have to replicate this model I'm going to speak to you about this morning. But Elijah is there, and Elijah is this African-American gentleman, which is very important because of certain dynamics as he tells the story to his folks back home when he brought my replication team down to Broward County. I have a 5-member replication team. We travel the country. We provide 2 days of technical assistance supported by the Annie Casey Foundation. JDAI, that is their Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, for which their 8 core strategies is what inspired me to develop this model back in 2003 when we became a JDAI site. So Elijah is, as he tells the story, is at a slot machine. And he said, this is the first chance I have all week to enjoy myself. I brought my wife with me. She had already spent a lot of money out shopping. I'm trying to get it back. And it's right outside the ballroom where Judge Teske is about to do the closing plenary. And I've never heard Judge Teske before. Never heard about him before. But I'm sitting there and I have an Oklahoma juvenile court judge to my left. I have a Mississippi juvenile court judge to my right. And both of them are African-American females, which plays an important point in just a moment. And all of a sudden, those two start to get up at the same time, and he looked at them and he saw folks going into the ballroom, which he intended not to go that day. but to enjoy the slot machines. And one of them said, Elijah, are you not going to go hear Judge Teske speak? He says, I don't know Judge Teske. All right? And the other one from Mississippi said the only way that she could say it, anyone could say it, she slapped him on the shoulder and said, boy, you need to get in there because he preaches the truth. Well, he felt shamed now, so he got up and went in there. And it was almost standing room only. The only seats left were in the front row, which I call the spitting row when I'm speaking. Someone, I will move. I've seen I've already showered you. I will now come over here. Okay. Don't worry, folks in the back, you're not protected. I asked for a lavalier so I can get to you too and spray you as well. So anyway, he goes in there, and as he tells the story, I heard Judge Teske, I got his literature, which some of the literature you have in your handouts before you. He said, I went back, and he said, I drank his Kool-Aid. Now, this is an ex-military fellow who's, by the way, is pretty known for high detention rates among young people, okay? And he had a revelation, he said. And he went back, and he gathered he did everything that is laid out in my publications. And he got to a point, he said, I'm just going to call Judge Teske and see if I can get further help and move this needle a little bit further. And so we went down to Broward County and we met with all their school administrators. We met with all their school police. All right? And I want you to know in December 2013, they signed a Memorandum of Understanding, an intergovernmental agency Memorandum of Understanding, which, by the way, the effort in part was led by a school board member. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The leadership in that room was not just the judge, but it was a school board member who said, I am not going to tolerate the intolerance, okay? All right? That we see the bad effects of school discipline when we apply zero tolerance policy. Zero tolerance, in its absolute sense, is zero intelligence. That's the bottom line. Now let's dig into this. And I got to move really quick here. Just so you'll know, from getting out of the gate, I think it's important that Can y'all hear me in the back, just like this? I don't need this. I project well. All right, so on the left, a handbook for evidence-based juvenile justice systems, published 2014 for anyone in my field of community corrections, juvenile or adult. James C. Howell, Mark Lipsey, and John J. Wilson are renowned social scientists. Okay? They came in, they gathered the data, and on page 47, they go into this particular model, the school justice partnership model. And at the end, they list all the evidence-based programs of juvenile justice, those that have been studied. And they state, quote, cited by researchers as an ideal solution to eliminating zero tolerance. So I think it's important from the get-go to share with you this has been studied by folks outside, by those who know what they're doing and know how to conduct research and are objective. Kids for Cash. How many of you are familiar with the Kids for Cash scandal in Pennsylvania? For those who don't, look at it right there. Well, you can't see it. It says two